We are quickly going to talk about how to create your vocabulary sheet for elements of a story. So I'm going to give you the digital version, or you can make your own paper copy, whichever you prefer. So on the far left-hand side, you'll put the word. Then second from the left, you'll put the definition. Third box, you'll put a picture that helps you remember what that word definition means. And then in the very last box on the right, you're going to put a connection to that word that you have seen in your everyday life. So let me give you an example. The words analyze. The definition is to study something closely and carefully to build understanding. So for me, I drew a picture of a tree where I was really magnifying and looking closely at the roots, because you have to look at the whole thing, and sometimes you're going to have to dig for it and work for it. And so that's the picture that best worked for me. If you don't like that definition or you don't like that picture, draw or write whatever makes sense to you, because if it makes sense to you, you're more likely to remember it. Then the last box is connection. So analyze, we know, means to look at something closely, and that's what Sherlock Holmes does. That's what they do in murder mysteries, right? And even in Stranger Things, they are analyzing things to try and find out who the big baddie is, right? But my favorite was when the Vicini in Princess Bride was trying to analyze where the poison was. So that's what I put. It's a connection to the word analyze that will help me remember what analyze is. Then the next word is going to be elements. The definition for that is a part or aspect of something, especially a piece that is important. So the picture that I picked for that is a puzzle piece, or a puzzle with pieces missing. You can see that there's an overall picture, but there are individual pieces to it. And a connection to that is the big dragon that's at that roundabout. As a whole, it's a dragon, but individually, it's made up of license plates. So that helped me remember elements. The third word that we're going to look at is character. And the definition for that is a person, or sometimes even a thing, that interacts within a story. So this was an easy picture for me. Two people talking, they're interacting, I'll remember character. And then I want you to remember the difference between an actor and a character. So the actor, Johnny Depp, plays the character, Jack Sparrow. Those are the differences there. Now for our fourth word, it's going to be setting, which is when and where of a story. I drew the shack from Esperanza Rising, but you can draw whatever you want to help you remember what a setting is. And then for a connection, I put home versus school, because I know that when I'm in the home setting versus the school setting, I act a lot differently. And then our fifth word is going to be plot, which is the way a story is organized. This has the exposition, conflict, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. I just did the plot diagram because it helps me remember that that's how the author organizes a story, is with the plot diagram. And then my favorite movie is Pirate of the Caribbean, because the plot keeps me interested. That's my connection to plot. Sixth, we have conflict. This is the main event of the story that changes everything. There are 4 different types of conflict. There's character versus character, as in like somebody's getting in a fight with somebody else, right? Or there's character versus society. This is kind of when one person is trying to say, hey, what the government is doing is not okay. This needs to change for the betterment of other people. And then there's character versus self. This is when a character realizes, hey, I need to grow and change and develop. And so they are battling internal feelings. And then character versus nature. This is when like a tornado or something's happened that changed the character's life drastically. So to help me remember what conflict is, I did this internal conflict. So it's not something happening outside of him. It's the characters trying to deal with something inside of them. Whatever you want to draw to help you remember what conflict is, put it there. And then my connection to conflict is I just know that the conflict in Esperanza Rising is that Esperanza becomes poor. That's the connection that will help me remember. Then seventh, we have point of view. There's two different parts of point of view. There's the perspective of the narrator, and then there's also the perspective of the characters within a story. So for example, the perspective of the character, I know that Zelda is in third person limited because it's outside of the character. We can see the character moving, but we only follow one character around. Super Smash Bros, though, is third person omniscient because we can see all of the characters at once. And then Minecraft is first person because you aren't seeing the body of the character, you're just seeing the axe doing stuff. And then the two different perspectives between characters would be like Marlin versus Dory, because those two characters have really different perspectives or thoughts or beliefs from each other. And so that's also what I wrote for my connection to help me remember point of view. Last, we have theme. This is the life lesson of the story that is shown by the changing of a character from the beginning, middle, and end. To help me remember that, I drew a picture of a student thinking, what am I supposed to learn here? And then the overall